my name is Ruth, and this is my son Aaron, and we are going to share our story of God's faithfulness. Aaron was diagnosed with asthma and eczema when he was about 6 months old and has struggled with both throughout his childhood and into his teenage years. There were often times while he was growing up that it was difficult for him to sleep because either he couldn't breathe well enough or he was uncomfortable with his skin. There were times when maybe he couldn't participate in things that his friends were doing outside or playing because of breathing issues, and it did really just hamper sometimes his quality of life. Aaron, do you want to share about your experiences?
Yeah, when I was younger, I remember my mom having to put a stool by my bed because it hurt so much to bend my legs that I wasn't able to actually climb into bed. And then for most of my life, it was really hard to sleep because I was always so itchy that I was just up for hours scratching, which again really hurt my eczema. And there was another time when my dad and I were in a doctor's office for an entire day, and they almost admitted me to the hospital where I would have to stay overnight because my one of my lungs was not opening because my asthma had gotten so bad, and I remember that day really well because it was pretty scary.
So eventually we took Aaron to Seattle Children's Hospital, and they gave us some new treatments to do. Those included a light therapy treatment, which was driving to Wenatchee 3 times a week so he could get light therapy along with other topical prescriptions and lots of various prescriptions that he had to take for both the eczema and the asthma. A constant maintenance of these things that kind of left him on a roller coaster of times where he felt okay and then times when he didn't feel okay. But as his mother, I always just had a sense that his quality of life was just a little bit less than his peers around him. Then in 2019 and 2020, these different treatments and methods that we were using to try and help keep the eczema and asthma under control started to seem to be maybe a little bit ineffective, and his eczema especially got really, really bad, and it was just heartbreaking to see. And he would try and be strong and just push on through because he didn't have a choice, but it was just really, really hard for him. So we made some appointments. We started with the allergist, who then got us very quickly into a dermatologist, and at that point the dermatologist suggested that there was a brand new treatment, and this actually, this appointment with the dermatologist was last spring. And the dermatologist suggested that there was a new treatment out on the market that she thought might be effective for helping Aaron. And the great thing about it was that it treats both eczema and asthma. So Andrew, my husband, and I were very excited, and Aaron, of course, too, were very excited about the possibility of this new treatment. And then we found out that it was extremely expensive, and there was absolutely no way that we could afford this treatment for Aaron without the help of insurance. And so the allergist did tell us, or the dermatologist did tell us within that appointment, because of the expense of the prescription, that was very difficult to get insurance companies to authorize payment of the prescription. And so last spring we began the process with the allergist of trying to get a pre-approval for this medication for Aaron, and that became long and difficult, and many phone calls because of the cost, and because it's also an injectable drug. Everything had to be coordinated between the doctor's office and the insurance company and the pharmacy that would dispense the drug to us. And Andrew and I just felt like we were on a roller coaster between the other parts that we were working with, and we would think we would make headway, and then we wouldn't, and then yes, it was just it felt like a hamster wheel that we were just going around while Aaron continued to just kind of be a little bit miserable with the issues he was having. And so Andrew and I, at the church's prompting, had decided to participate in a day of fasting and then have a prayer walk. And this was, we had probably been trying to just get approval for the medication for probably over a month. The doctor had actually set out a prescription for a month and then another one, and that first month prescription expired because the process with the insurance company was taking so long, and he and I and Aaron were just so discouraged. So Andrew and I had our morning of fasting, and then we decided to go on our prayer walk. And as you know, the pandemic was happening at that point, and so there were many things that we were praying about and praying through on that prayer walk. And when we set off on that prayer walk, we hadn't necessarily planned that it was going to be focused on Aaron. We were just listening to the Lord's prompting. And so as we were walking, Andrew said that he felt prompted to pray for Aaron and for the insurance company, and even maybe just miraculous healing. We just felt at our end with it. And so Andrew prayed, and as I was walking along with him, I had an image in my mind of coming back home and laying our hands on Aaron and praying to God for healing. And so we continued on in our walk, and then I took my turn praying, and I prayed for Aaron as well. And after a few minutes, Andrew said, "You know, this sounds a little bit weird, but I feel like I need to share it." He said, "As you were praying for Aaron, I had this image in my mind of us going home and laying hands on Aaron." And so that was a very clear sign. Even telling it today, I get goosebumps as I explain it, because what a clear sign to us that this was a prompting from God. And so we felt we have never specifically laid hands on our children before to pray for healing. We've been a part of that in a larger church gathering, but never done things like that in our home. But we decided it was what we needed to do. And so we came home, and both of the boys were here, and so we explained to them what we wanted to do, and Aaron was very receptive to that, which just made us so proud of him as a teenage boy to have a heart that's open and willing to things like that. And so all four of us stood together, and Andrew and Ethan and I laid hands on Aaron, and we prayed for miraculous healing, whether that be directly from the hand of God, or whether that be through something being approved through insurance. And so that was a Friday. On the very next business day, Monday, fairly early in the day, Andrew received a call to let him know that everything had been approved, everything was okayed, everything was worked out, and they wanted to know if it would be okay if they shipped out the medication for Aaron so he could start it that week. And we just what a great way for God to work in our lives and in our teenage son's life. There's no other explanation to us than it being a miracle from God. And so we actually started doing the injections for Aaron that very week, and I'm gonna let Aaron talk a little bit about his experiences with the medicine.
Basically, since we started, the eczema has almost completely gone away. It's still there a little bit, but it's kind of crazy to think about how it was hard to sleep because of just constant itching, and now I can just lay in bed and go to sleep within like 10 minutes. It seems like little things, but it really did change my life. Same with the asthma. It's nice to be able to not have to worry about things like that, and to just be able to live normally. I no longer have big like scratches on my face. People would a lot of times ask me like if I had black eyes because I would rub my eyes so hard, and it's gone, and it's been really life changing.
So this is just a glimpse into our story of God's faithfulness to us, and we just really, really thank and praise Him.